Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I am going to be talking about books that have made me cry, shed tears, have an emotional moment. And this is my recommendation video of books that will make you cry, a good cry moment. Yeah, so that's what this video is about. I'm recommending good cry moments, and I am so excited about this video. I feel like not a lot of people recommend books for a good cry moment. Like, sometimes a part of being a hot girl is shedding some tears over a good book, and that's exactly what I love to do. Here are some recommendations. Okay, I'm gonna start with this series that I very much love, a graphic novel series that I adore, and it has become a Netflix series and TV show, and we got season 1. It was amazing. I cried while watching it again, just the way I cried when I read it, and I just love it so much. It's so close to my heart, near and dear. And that series, if you haven't guessed already, is Heartstopper by Alice Osman. Love this series. I only have volume 1 through 3 in physical copy because volume 4 wasn't available when I was ordering these. And I ordered these because when the show had come out, I wanted to, like, you know, celebrate it coming out. So I ordered the first 3 volumes because they were available, and hopefully I can get the 4th one and add it to this beautiful collection I have right here. First of all, the spines are very gorgeous, and I love that it alternates between Charlie and Nick. Yeah, this series has a lot of things that are trigger warning worthy. There is bullying, there is homophobia, there is assault, sexual assault, there is also mental health. Like, the topic of mental health is discussed within, I believe, volumes 3 and 4 very heavily. It's distributed evenly throughout volumes 1 and 2, but it's heavily talked about in volume 3 and 4. And I definitely have to say, this series, like every single book, I have shed a tear, if not multiple, on volume 3 and 4, and I love them so much. And the show is amazing, so I would recommend watching that after you, like, zoom through all of this. It's available on Webtoon if you want to tune in and see what it's about, and you can't just buy, you know, like these. And it's available on Kindle, so if you're not a physical book person, I would recommend just pick it up on whatever platform you can. Webtoon is free. Download it and read till your heart bursts. Like, I would recommend this. It's a beautiful love story, and the side characters are just as amazing as the main characters. So yeah, Heartstopper is gorgeous. Next up is a book that I would call one of my faves, and I hold this book near and dear to my heart, and I love it so much, and I read it recently and fell in love with it. And that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I love this book, and the beautiful lyrical writing within this book just was so vivid that I could not take it. And I just love the characters in the world and the romance and the magic of it all. And a lot of times, some lines, some chapters moved me to tears, like happy tears. It wasn't really sad tears, but it was still like, I'm overwhelmed, and so water came out of my eyes. And that's exactly how I felt reading this book, and it was just so amazing. And I love this book so much. I definitely recommend it if you're a lyrical person and you love lyrical writing. I definitely recommend this. 5 out of 5 stars. Hello. Same thing for Heartstopper. I gave both of these books, well, I gave that series, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. So totally recommend this book. Oh, and this world is focused around the circus, as it says in the title, and as you can see in the illustration on the front of the book. And yeah, we follow these 2 people as they go against each other in this circus, and they end up falling in love, and it's a beautiful story. The ending is adorable. It's amazing. I recommend. Now, I know y'all know about this book because I made a whole video where I was crying my eyes out to it. And this book is about family and, like, people coming together to fight together, just hardships within families and whatnot. And that book is The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Zoraida Cordova. And I know y'all know how much I love this book because you've seen the video. If you've seen the video, you know how much I was crying over this book. Like, this book is really good. Like, I'm obsessed with it. We follow this family who are separated by wants and needs, and this feeling like they just have to get away from their grandmother, I believe. Yeah, it's not their great grandmother, it was their grandmother. I'm trying to remember because I've read a lot of books since this one, but yeah, they're trying to get away from their grandmother so that they can live their lives because they don't want to inherit their powers yet. And so as she's on the brink of dying, they all come back to claim their inheritance, which is this power that she's going to bestow on, I believe, 1 or 2 people. And as these family members are coming back, they are trying to avoid being killed by the past that their grandmother has. This person is chasing after her and her family and killing them one by one, and they're all trying to escape them. And as they make their way back to her, they come to find out all these secrets that they didn't know about their grandmother. She ends up passing and becoming something very beautiful, and they end up uncovering all these secrets only to fight the thing that was chasing them down and killing them in the beginning. And it's so gorgeous, and the writing is so beautiful. I definitely love this book, and I gave this 5 out of 5 again, and I would recommend that you read it. Okay, the next one is the 3rd book in an amazing series, an amazing romance book series, and that book is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I don't know why I was moved to tears, but all I know is this is a gorgeous story. It talks on autism and the spectrum that people can be on when autistic, and it goes into becoming an adult and, you know, trying to figure things out on your own. There's a lot of like music within this. There's a whole music playlist in the beginning. It's gorgeous. And when you listen to the music while reading the book, it definitely gives this whole new experience, in my opinion. And all I gotta say is I was listening to Breathless by, I can't remember right now, but that was like one of the last songs in this beautiful scene where they come back together, and it just changed the whole moment for me. And I ended up crying my eyes out. Definitely love these characters so much, and I'm obsessed with their world. And let me see, I think I have a sticky note. The sticky note is I love them so much. Literally, like, this is my favorite book in the series. Like, they're so gorgeous. I love their love, and I'm just so obsessed with the conversations that are in this book. Like, it's just so good. Like, I love this. Like, 5 out of 5 stars again. Devoured. Talia Hibbert, devoured. So this book I read recently that I really love, 5 out of 5 stars again, and this book is about romance in the midst of war. Just from that opening, you should know what this book is. I made a whole vlog about it. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, recommended to me by Rick Reads on Instagram, one of my friends on my Bookstagram, and all I gotta say is Madeline Miller devoured. 8. There is no crumbs on that plate. There is no plate. The plate was devoured with the food. Like, come on. Like this book is amazing. If I could give this 10 out of 5 stars, I would. Like, this is amazing. I'm obsessed with Achilles and Patroclus, and this is so devastating but so good. Like, I cried my eyes out. There was tears coming out of my ears. Like, this is so good, and the ending is so beautiful but so sad. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You just gotta read it. You just gotta experience it. And there are just so many beautiful things about this book. Okay. So here's this line. We were like gods at the dawning of the world, and our joy was so bright we could see nothing but each other. Madeline Miller, I would like to thank you for your service. This gorgeous book that has been bestowed upon us to read. I'm so glad I am alive in a time where gorgeous books like this exist. And yeah, okay, this one is not everybody's favorite, but it's definitely one of mine. And I definitely love this story. It's very devastating, it's very sad, but it's not on the level of the Song of Achilles or Heartstopper for me. or The Inheritance of Orchidea Divina, but it definitely made me cry. It made me shed a couple tears, and that is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. This book talks about a sister that is diagnosed with cancer, and this brings two sisters together that barely talk to each other. They live in New York, as one sister is helping the other navigate the illness. They are getting through conversations that they never had before, and they end up reconnecting as a family because they end up going back home. It really talks about how sad and horrible some families can be. I feel a lot of people did not connect with that because a lot of people have grown up in like a very loving and very structured home where both parents and their siblings are, you know, very loving to them, or they just didn't have any siblings at all, so they didn't know like the struggles that Jane and June are going through, and I completely respect that. But for me, I definitely understood the tension between the two siblings and how that affected their relationship up until their adulthood, and how the illness brought them together and allowed them to heal and have discussions that they needed to have. Not everybody has the best relationship with their siblings, and that's due to the fact that some people are, you know, never gonna change, and that causes people to disagree with each other, and, you know, perspectives clash. So I found the representation of that in this book very much like on the dome, like for real, like that was just right there. And I really love the conversations of, like, you know, families come back together and immigrants families in general. Like, yeah, it's so good. And the things that they was talking about in New York, I was like, yep, it's on the dot, perfectly depicted. Yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5, or I think 4.5 out of 5. Either way, love this book. Now, the next two books are from a series that I deeply love, one of my favorite series, one of my favorite fantasy series, and one of my favorite authors, and just by that intro you should know who I'm talking about, and that is Sabata Tahir. And the two books that I have chosen that I have cried my eyes out to is A Reaper at the Gates and A Sky Beyond the Storm. Love this series, but these two books made me cry my eyes out. And the character that moved me to tears the most was Helene. Her story that developed from A Reaper at the Gates into A Sky Beyond the Storm, like the way her story gradually got worse, like that was just insane, and I was moved to tears. And Helene is so strong. I ended up loving her character a lot more after I read A Reaper at the Gates, and then I just completely fell in love with her character, and I identified with her character a lot by the time I got to A Sky Beyond the Storm. There's also Laya and Elias's relationship and their story that's very sad, and even her brother Darin, like. And then Sabata Tahir decided in A Sky Beyond the Storm to completely wreck us as readers and consume our souls. And so, yeah, this is the most devastating one out of the two. And would I recommend reading this? I don't know. Maybe if you're ready to cry your eyes out or be very upset, like, sure. But I gave both 5 out of 5 stars, and I really love this series. And I love the romance. I love the just the teamwork and how women can come together even with their differences in the midst of war. It's just so good. It's just so good. It's so good. Like, you gotta pick it up. You gotta pick it up. Okay, now we're gonna get into some of the digital books that I have read that have made me cry, whether it was an audiobook or a Kindle book. So there was one Kindle book that I had read that made me cry a little bit of tears, maybe a good amount, and that was The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagadar. And it's so good. 5 out of 5 stars. Again, totally recommend that you read it. I believe I read this for Queer Lit Readathon last year, and oh my god, it was so good. Like, it was so good. And it, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I think that if you want to read about queer characters that are within an immigrant family, you want to see somebody talk about like business and cultural appropriation and how that's a necessary conversation, I would definitely recommend this book. And then I'll leave like the video that I made for the Queer Lit Readathon where I go into further details as to why I love this book, because our main character was just so amazing and I just wanted the best for our main character. And so I was like so sad just reading about our main character's journey. It was a lot. Okay, now moving on to audiobooks from Script. I listened to Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen recently, and oh my gosh, 5 out of 5 stars again. Definitely recommend this book. I cried so much at the end of this book because I felt so relieved and seen as a Black woman by the time I ended this book. Like, our main character had gone through so much, and to see her finally reach like that epiphany, that aha moment, and get some relief and heal, it was just so refreshing. It was so nice. And I'll link the video where I go into depth about how amazing this book is. I believe that's in the Song of Achilles vlog, where I talk about like how beautiful this book is. And Jane Allen has a way of writing that I definitely love. It's very simplistic, but it's so in-depth at the same time. It's so beautiful, and what can I say? I definitely recommend it. Okay, this next one I was raving about after I read it, well, listened to it, and that is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. And bro, I don't know if everybody loves to read in verse. I don't know if everybody loves like the poetry aspects of like I don't know how to explain it, but like it's like poetry, but it's written in a book format, if that makes sense. So it's written in verse, but it has the layout of like, let's say, Reaper at the Gates, you know, just lines across the page. It's not like in poetry stanzas. There we go. It's not in stanzas, I believe, but it is read like it is. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poetic piece. And I cried my eyes out because our main character was going through so much, and she was just trying to be free. She was just trying to figure out who she was without her father, figure out how to deal with her father's death, and just it took her on a journey that was so sad, but in the end she prevailed, and it's just so beautiful. And Elizabeth Acevedo definitely has a lot of talent, and the beautiful like depictions of everything, it was just so vivid. Like, it was gorgeous, and it was very sad. Definitely huge trigger warnings for assault, rape. There is talks of mental illness and various other very triggering things, so definitely look up the triggers before you get into this book. I didn't really cry as much as I did for a lot of these other books while reading this book, well, listening to this book, but it definitely made me shed a tear like here and there. Like, I wasn't streaming tears out of my eyes, but I definitely shed a tear here and there. And that is Felix Ever After by Cassine Callender. And oh my gosh, this book follows a trans character who is dealing with their transness while navigating high school into college. It just reminded me of how angsty I was when I was trying to decide who I was gonna become as an artist in college. And Felix goes to a performing art school, and he has to figure out who he wants to be after he leaves high school. Everybody has everything figured out, but Felix doesn't. And Felix is dealing with a lot of issues at home after transitioning, and it's just a very beautiful story. And seeing the main character Felix just be very frustrated and upset, that did move me to some tears here and there, but I did not cry that much. But I think if it, like, the story touches you in that way, you might be moved to like streaming tears out of your eyes. It's such a good book. I definitely recommend it. And the audiobook is amazing. I definitely recommend that too. Okay, the final audiobook I'm going to talk about is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely love this book a lot. And the only reason I was moved to tears was because of the ending and how our main character Addie ended up, like, the choices that she made in the end of the book definitely made me cry a little, just like Felix Ever After. Like, it made me shed a little tear here and there. And I love this book. I love the imagery in this book. I just think it's definitely worth a read. But if you don't click with it, you don't click with it, because not everybody clicks with this book. Not everybody likes this book. So I liked it. I don't know, maybe you might like it too. And it's in this fantasy world where we follow our main character, who's not remembered by anybody, and she's trying to navigate this world after making a deal with a demon, I guess you can say, or some god of the dark. So she prayed to a god late at night and ended up being forgotten by everybody who has seen her. And she's navigating this world into like present day, I think like 2018 or something like that. And yeah, it's a lot. And then when somebody finally remembers her, it leads her down a slippery slope and things start happening. And yeah, definitely recommend it. I love this book. Now moving on to 2 books that I am currently reading that I have not finished yet, but have made me cry so far. I'm going to start with Starfish by Akemi Dawn Bowman, and this is a buddy read. I think the April buddy read for Books with Chloe's Discord server. Like, we always read books together, and so far I have shed a couple tears for our main character. She goes through so much, and she's dealing with a narcissistic parent and just trying to figure out who she is as an artist and a person. And there's definitely a lot of talk around like depression, anxiety, and racism. Kiko goes through so much. Like, it's a lot. It's very heavy, and I definitely would say to look up the triggers before you get into this book. There's a lot, and there's so much like beautiful descriptions of like art and Kiko's art in this book, and I as an artist appreciate and love that, and I can't wait to finish this book. Predicting a 5 out of 5 stars for Starfish. Okay, moving on to another Asian American main character book, and that is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. And oh my gosh, this book has made me shed so many tears. I'm only like 100 pages in, and I have cried so much while reading this book. It's very heavy, and this is a conversation between Michelle Zauner and her dead mom. The things that she wanted to say to her, the things that she wanted to explain to her mom, how she felt, her mindset while growing up, and then also her reconnecting with her culture and just reappreciating it in her adult years. And it's just so gorgeous, and I'm only up to page 110, and it's so lovely. I haven't picked it up since Koreadathon, which I'm very sad about, but I just haven't been in the mood for it. So hopefully when I am in the mood again, I will continue to read this gorgeous book. It's very heavy, and I would definitely say to look into the trigger warnings before you get into this one also. I'm predicting that this and Starfish will both be 5 out of 5 stars. I'm definitely excited to finish both of them. So those are all of the books that have moved me to tears or have moved me to literally like a whole sea coming out of my eyes. I recommend all of these books. I love all of these books, and all I know is if you want to be a sad girl or person and have your sad person moment, I recommend these books. I recommend these books. I recommend these books. I hope that you have your sad moment successfully, and that leads you to appreciate and love amazing books as much as I do. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching. All my social medias are linked down below. I have a lot of informative stuff down below also. If you want to support my channel, I have my Amazon link down below. If you have made it to the end, put this emoji in the comments. I just want to see who's watching. I just want to see who made it to the end. I just want to see what y'all doing, and y'all could key down there and tell me about what books you're reading and something you would like to recommend to me, because as I had said in the Song of Achilles vlog, I am starting this series where I literally just read books recommended by people and determine whether it's for me or if it's not for me. So if you want to recommend a book for the 2nd episode in that series, or the 3rd or the 4th, definitely drop it down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.